Dr. Emily Nash rubbed her tired eyes as she stared at the monitors in front of her. Something was wrong. Very wrong. For the past week, the usual chatter of alien communications had been dropping off one by one, like stars winking out at dawn. But this wasn't dawn. This was darkness spreading across the galaxy. She took another sip of her cold coffee and pulled up the latest data from the massive radio telescope array in New Mexico. The screens that normally dance with colorful signals showing alien TV broadcasts, radio chatter, and diplomatic channels were now eerily empty. "Hey Bill, can you come look at this?" she called out to her colleague. Dr. William Hayes walked over, his usual cheerful expression fading as he looked at the screens. "When was the last time you saw any signal from the Centauri Alliance?" "That's what's bothering me," Emily said, pointing to the timestamp. 3 days ago, everything just stopped. Not just them. The Rigelians, the Proxima Colony, even the Sirius Broadcasting Network. They've all gone dark. Bill's face paled. In the 30 years since humanity's first contact with alien life, there had never been a complete communications blackout like this. The galaxy had been a busy, chattering place full of alien civilizations trading, arguing, and sharing their cultures. Now it was as silent as a graveyard. Emily reached for her phone, her hand shaking slightly as she dialed a number she'd hoped she'd never have to use. "This is Dr. Nash. Security code Delta 793. I need to speak to General Stone immediately." "Yes, I know what time it is. This can't wait." Within hours, the quiet SETI facility transformed into a hub of military and scientific activity. General Marcus Stone arrived with a team of Earth Defense Force officers, their blue uniforms standing out against the casual clothes of the scientists. Captain David Wells, a tall man with kind eyes that didn't match his stern expression, stood at attention as Emily explained what she'd discovered. The general's face grew darker with each passing minute. "Show me the pattern of the blackout," General Stone ordered, his voice grave. Emily pulled up a 3D map of known space. With a few keystrokes, she highlighted all the civilizations that had gone silent. Red dots appeared, spreading like a wave from the outer rim of known space toward Earth. "Whatever this is, it's moving inward," Captain Wells observed, tracing the pattern with his finger. "How long until it reaches Earth?" Emily ran the calculations. "At the current rate, maybe 2 weeks. But that's just a guess. We don't even know what it is." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had grown comfortable in its place among the stars. They had traded with aliens, learned from them, even fought alongside them in small conflicts. But now all their allies were going dark, one by one. "What about the Arcturus mining colony?" Captain Wells asked. "They're supposed to be sending their monthly shipment of rare earth elements next week." Emily shook her head and pointed to another dead signal. "Gone silent yesterday. No distress call, no warning. Just nothing." General Stone straightened his uniform and looked around the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, as of this moment, this information is classified at the highest levels. Dr. Nash, I want you and your team working around the clock to find any pattern, any clue about what we're dealing with. Captain Wells, prepare the Earth Defense Fleet for potential hostile contact." As the others filed out of the room, Emily stayed at her station, searching for any sign of life among the stars. She thought about how humanity had dreamed of finding alien life for centuries, only to finally make contact and build relationships with dozens of civilizations. Now those same civilizations were vanishing without a trace. A small alert caught her attention, a fragment of a transmission from the edge of known space. The message was garbled, barely readable, but what she could make out made her blood run cold. "They consume. Darkness between. Cannot be stopped. Hide or—" The message cut off abruptly, leaving behind only static. Emily looked out the window at the night sky, where thousands of stars twinkled innocently. Somewhere out there, something was silencing entire civilizations, and Earth might be next. She squared her shoulders and turned back to her monitors. If humanity had only 2 weeks left, they weren't going to spend them hiding in the dark. It was time to show the galaxy what Earth was made of. Thunder was coming. Ambassador Rachel Cooper walked quickly through the halls of the United Earth Embassy. Her heels clicked against the marble floor as she carried a data pad containing the most frightening message she'd ever received. The morning sunlight streaming through the windows did nothing to warm the chill in her bones. "Play it again," she ordered her eye assistant. A scratchy voice filled the air, speaking in the clicking language of the Proxima aliens. "Earth. Friends. They come through the void. They take minds. They." The message ended in static, just like all the others. Rachel pushed open the doors to the emergency meeting room. Inside, General Stone stood with Captain Wells and Dr. Nash, all looking at a large screen showing more dead communication channels. "We got another one," Rachel said, holding up her pad. "This time from Proxima. It's not much, but it confirms what the other fragments tell us. Something is out there. And it's not just killing communications, it's taking people's minds." Dr. Nash looked up from her computer. "The pattern makes more sense now. Look at this." She pointed to a new map. "Every civilization that's gone quiet, they didn't just stop talking. Their stars are dimming too, like something is blocking the light." Captain Wells leaned forward. "Blocking the light? How is that possible?" Before anyone could answer, a young officer burst into the room. "Sir, we're getting a live transmission from the Jupiter Defense Station." The main screen flickered to life. The station commander's face appeared, his eyes wide with fear. "Earth Command, we have visual contact. Massive objects coming out of, it looks like they're coming out of darkness itself. Sending images now." The screen split to show what the station's cameras were seeing. Everyone in the room gasped. Huge ships, black as the space between stars, were appearing at the edge of the solar system. They seemed to swallow the light around them, leaving trails of darkness in their wake. "Those must be the Void Singers," Rachel whispered. "The ancient species mentioned in the alien archives, the ones who disappeared 10,000 years ago." General Stone's face hardened. "How many ships, Commander?" "We count at least 50, sir. They're huge. Each one is bigger than Earth's moon." Dr. Nash typed frantically at her keyboard. "The quantum readings are off the charts. These ships aren't just blocking light. They're consuming energy itself. No wonder the alien civilizations went dark." Captain Wells stepped forward. "What are your orders, sir?" General Stone looked at each person in the room. "We have one advantage. We know they're coming. Every other civilization was caught by surprise. Captain Wells, I want the Thunder Project moved up. How soon can we test the prototype?" "The first ship will be ready in 3 days, sir. But we've never tried the sonic weapons in actual combat." Rachel checked her data pad as it beeped with new information. "General, I'm getting reports from our deep space probes. The Void Singer ships. They're not just warships. They're carrying some kind of massive equipment. It looks like." "Like what, Ambassador?" "Like giant musical instruments, sir, but twisted wrong somehow. The probe's sensors show they create anti-sound waves that can tear apart the fabric of space itself." Dr. Nash's eyes lit up. "That's it. That's how they're taking minds. They're using sound waves that operate on a quantum level. They literally pull consciousness out of living beings." The Jupiter Station commander's voice crackled through again. "Sir, they're accelerating. At current speed, they'll reach Mars orbit in 6 days." General Stone straightened his uniform. "Then we have 6 days to prepare Earth's defense. Captain Wells, you have full authority to fast-track the Thunder Project. Dr. Nash, I want everything you can find about these Void Singers. Ambassador Cooper, send one last message to any aliens still out there. Earth stands ready to fight." As the others rushed to their tasks, Captain Wells stayed behind. "Sir, what if the Thunder Project isn't ready in time?" The general smiled grimly. "Then we'll give them something no other species has, a fight they'll never forget." Humanity didn't climb to the stars by backing down from bullies, no matter how big they are. Outside the embassy windows, the sky was bright blue and peaceful. But somewhere up there, ancient beings of darkness were coming to harvest human minds. They expected to find another quiet, helpless civilization. Instead, they would find thunder. Commander Lisa Foster stood at the bridge of the experimental ship Thunderchild, watching as the last transmissions from Earth's alien allies played on the main screen. One by one, they announced their decisions to enter deep hibernation, hiding in underground bunkers or frozen beneath the ice of distant moons. "We wish you well, brave humans," said the Centaurian ambassador, his crystal-like face glowing dimly. "But we cannot fight them. We tried once, 10,000 years ago. We failed. Now we sleep and pray you find a way." The screen went dark. Lisa turned to her crew, seeing the mix of fear and determination on their faces. The Thunderchild was humanity's newest weapon, a ship built around the revolutionary sonic cannon that Dr. Catherine Martinez had designed. "Status report," Lisa ordered, keeping her voice steady. "Main sonic arrays at 85% power, Commander," reported Officer Steve Parker from his station. "Dr. Martinez says she needs another hour to tune the frequencies." Lisa nodded. Around them, Earth's remaining ships gathered. They looked tiny compared to the massive Void Singer vessels now approaching Mars. Through the view screen, she could see the weird darkness that followed the alien ships, like living shadows that ate the starlight. Her communication panel lit up. "Commander Foster, this is Earth Command. General Stone wishes to speak with you." The general's face appeared on her screen. He looked tired but determined. "Commander, the last of our allies has gone into hibernation. The Arcturus mining colony just went dark. We're on our own now." "Understood, sir. Thunderchild is almost ready for our first test." "Good, because we just lost contact with the Mars Defense Station. The Void Singers will reach Earth in less than 3 days." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine, but kept her voice firm. "The Thunder Fleet will be ready, sir. Dr. Martinez says her sonic weapon should disrupt their consciousness-stealing technology." The ship shuddered slightly as Dr. Martinez ran another test of the sonic arrays. The weapon was based on a simple idea: fight their sound with our sound. If the Void Singers used quantum-level harmonics to steal minds, Earth would use its own sounds to break their songs. "Commander," Officer Parker called out. Large energy spike from the lead Void Singer ship. The view screen showed one of the moon-sized black ships opening like a massive flower. Inside, they could see what looked like a giant musical instrument, but wrong in ways that hurt to look at. It was like someone had built a trumpet the size of a city, but with pieces that couldn't exist in normal space. "They're powering up their harvesting equipment," Dr. Martinez said, rushing onto the bridge. Her lab coat was wrinkled from hours of non-stop work. "But I've got good news. The sonic cannon is ready, and I think I've found their weakness." Lisa leaned forward. "What weakness?" "They use perfect harmonies to capture consciousness. But human music isn't about perfection. It's about emotion, about soul. Our sonic weapon doesn't just make noise. It makes music. Human music." General Stone's voice came through again. "Commander Foster, we're picking up a transmission from the Void Singers. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." A sound filled the ship that made everyone's teeth hurt. It wasn't just noise. It was anti-music, sounds that shouldn't exist. Words formed in their minds without going through their ears. "Surrender your minds. Resistance brings pain. Silence is peace." Lisa looked at her crew. Some were holding their heads, fighting against the awful sound. But they stayed at their posts. No one ran. No one gave up. "Dr. Martinez," Lisa said, "power up the sonic cannon. Officer Parker, send this message to all Earth ships. Humanity doesn't surrender. Humanity doesn't hide. Today, we bring the thunder." She stood from her command chair as the Thunderchild's weapons powered up. Around her ship, 30 other vessels of the Thunder Fleet took formation. They were smaller than the Void Singer ships, but they carried humanity's spirit in their sonic guns. "All ships report ready, Commander," Officer Parker said. Lisa nodded and took a deep breath. The fate of not just humanity, but all conscious life in the galaxy might depend on what happened next. The Void Singers thought they would find another easy target, another civilization to add to their collection of stolen minds. Instead, they were about to learn why humans called their ships the Thunder Fleet. Because after thousands of years of stealing minds and spreading silence, the Void Singers were finally going to hear Earth's answer. And it was going to be loud. Dr. Catherine Martinez stood at her control station aboard the Thunderchild, her fingers dancing across the controls of the sonic weapon she had created. Around her, the bridge crew watched as a small Void Singer scout ship approached their position near Mars. "This is our chance," Commander Foster said from her captain's chair. "If we can prove the sonic weapon works against even their smallest ship, we have hope against their larger vessels." The scout ship was still massive by human standards, about the size of an aircraft carrier. But compared to the moon-sized harvesters approaching Earth, it was tiny. Dark tendrils of anti-light curled around it like smoke. "Void Singer Scout is in range," Officer Parker reported. "They're scanning us with their consciousness-reading beams." Dr. Martinez took a deep breath. For months, she had studied the fragments of alien records about the Void Singer's sound-based technology. The answer had come to her while attending a concert on Earth. The power of human music wasn't in its perfection, but in its heart. "Powering up primary sonic arrays," she announced. "Loading Earth Music Pattern Alpha." The Thunderchild hummed as its special speakers came alive. These weren't ordinary speakers. They used quantum technology to create sound that could travel through space itself. The ship's computers contained thousands of pieces of human music, from classical symphonies to rock and roll. "Enemy ship is charging its mind-harvesting equipment," Parker warned. Commander Foster nodded. "Dr. Martinez, you may fire when ready." Catherine pressed the firing sequence. The ship shuddered as the sonic weapon activated. On her screen, she could see the wave of sound energy spreading out. But this wasn't just noise. The weapon wove together pieces of Mozart's symphonies, African drum beats, Chinese folk songs, and dozens of other human musical styles. The effect on the Void Singer Scout was immediate. The dark tendrils around it began to shake and break apart. The scout ship itself seemed to vibrate, its perfect black surface developing cracks. "It's working," Catherine shouted. "Their anti-sound technology can't handle the complexity of human music. Our emotions are disrupting their patterns." The scout ship tried to retreat, but the Thunderchild's sonic blast had already taken hold. Where the Void Singers used pure, cold harmonies to steal minds, Earth's music carried the warmth of human feelings. Joy, sadness, hope, and determination. "Enemy ship's consciousness-harvesting equipment is failing," Parker reported with excitement. "They're trying to send a distress signal to their main fleet." Commander Foster smiled. "Let them. I want the rest of the Void Singers to know what's coming for them." The scout ship's perfect surface cracked further as Earth's music poured into it. Through the gaps, they could see strange machinery inside, built to capture and store stolen minds. But those machines were designed for order and silence. They couldn't handle the chaos and emotion of human songs. "Final power surge," Catherine announced, pushing her weapon to full strength. She added one last element to the sonic blast: recordings of human laughter. The sound of pure joy proved too much for the Void Singer ship. With a silent flash, the scout ship broke apart. Its pieces scattered across space, no longer surrounded by the unnatural darkness that had cloaked it. On Catherine's screens, she could see that the consciousness-stealing machinery inside had been completely destroyed. "Message from Earth Command," Parker said. "General Stone wants a full report." Commander Foster turned to Catherine. "Dr. Martinez, you just proved that humanity can fight back. How soon can we equip the rest of the fleet with your sonic weapons?" Catherine checked her data. The designs are ready. With all of Earth's factories working together, we can have 50 ships armed in 3 days. But the main Void Singer fleet will be here in 2. Then we work faster, Foster said firmly. Humanity has spent thousands of years making music, filling it with our hopes and dreams and feelings. Now that music will save not just us, but every mind the Void Singers have stolen. The bridge crew cheered. On the main screen, they could see the giant Void Singer ships still approaching Earth, still confident in their power to harvest minds. They had no idea that their perfect harmonies were about to meet the wild, emotional thunder of human music. Catherine smiled as she began preparing the sonic weapon for another test. The Void Singers had brought silence to the galaxy, but humanity was about to put on the greatest concert in history, and the whole universe would hear them roar. Admiral John Rivers watched from the bridge of his flagship as Earth's Thunder Fleet took formation. 50 ships, each armed with Dr. Martinez's sonic weapons, spread out in a defensive line between Earth and the approaching Void Singer armada. Every ship carried the hopes of humanity and the music that might save the galaxy. All ships report ready, Admiral, his communications officer said. Thunderchild has taken the lead position under Commander Foster. The main screen showed the Void Singer fleet, hundreds of massive black ships that made Earth's vessels look tiny in comparison. Their strange instruments were already deploying, ready to harvest human consciousness just as they had done to so many other species. Play the recording from their last transmission again, Rivers ordered. The cold, metallic voice filled the bridge. Last Nang. Surrender your minds to join the great silence. Resistance will bring pain. Rivers smiled grimly. Send our response, the one we all agreed on. Through every speaker on every human ship, music began to play. Not a weapon yet, just a message. They played We Will Rock You by Queen, its powerful beat echoing through space. It was humanity's answer to the Void Singer's demand for silence. The enemy ships reacted immediately. Their dark tendrils writhed as if in pain, and their perfect black surfaces rippled with disturbance. They hadn't expected this kind of resistance. All ships, battle formations, Rivers commanded. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Not just Earth, but every mind they've stolen, every civilization they've silenced. The Thunder Fleet moved with perfect coordination. They had practiced these maneuvers for days, learning to work together like a giant orchestra. Each ship carried different pieces of music, different parts of Earth's cultural heritage. Void Singers are powering up their harvesting equipment, reported the sensor officer. Multiple consciousness-stealing beams detected. Launch Operation Thunderstorm, Rivers ordered. Commander Foster's voice came over the fleet channel. Thunderchild, engaging primary target. All ships, begin musical assault pattern Alpha. The space between the fleets came alive with sound. The Thunder Fleet released their sonic weapons, each ship contributing its own part to the symphony of battle. Classical music from Thunderchild, rock and roll from the Stormbreaker, jazz from the Lightning Strike, and dozens more styles from ships across the fleet. The effect on the Void Singers was devastating. Their perfect formations broke apart as Earth's emotional music disrupted their technology. Where their consciousness-stealing beams met human music, the beams shattered. Direct hit on enemy flagship. Someone shouted. Their harvesting equipment is failing. But the Void Singers weren't defeated yet. They launched smaller ships, thousands of them, trying to overwhelm Earth's defenses with numbers. The dark ships moved like a swarm of angry bees. All ships switched to close combat music. Rivers commanded. Deploy the heavy metal playlist. The Thunder Fleet adjusted its weapons. Now the sounds of electric guitars and thundering drums filled space. The smaller Void Singer ships couldn't handle the raw emotion and power of human rock music. They began exploding one after another. Sir, his tactical officer called out. The enemy flagship. It's opening up. Some kind of massive sonic weapon. The largest Void Singer ship split apart like a blooming flower, revealing an instrument bigger than anything humans had ever built. It looked like a twisted pipe organ merged with a black hole. "They're trying to drown out our music with their anti-sound," Commander Foster reported. "Thunderchild is taking heavy damage." Rivers stood from his command chair. All ships switched to Final Symphony. "Dr. Martinez, you have command of the musical assault." This was their last resort. Every ship playing the same piece of music, amplified by their sonic weapons. They had chosen Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Ode to Joy, a piece about hope and the triumph of the human spirit. The combined power of 50 ships playing this mighty music slammed into the Void Singer's grand instrument. Space itself seemed to vibrate as human emotion met alien anti-sound. The Void Singer's perfect harmonies tried to consume the human music, but they couldn't match its power, its passion, its heart. With a silent flash that lit up the solar system, the Void Singer's main weapon shattered. Cracks spread across their ships, leaking the stolen minds they had harvested over thousands of years. "Keep playing," Rivers ordered as the enemy fleet began to break apart. "Show them why humanity never surrendered, never hid, never stopped making noise." The Thunder Fleet pressed forward, their music growing stronger. The galaxy had been silent for too long. It was time for a new song, and humanity was leading the chorus. Dr. Emily Nash stared at her computer screen aboard Thunderchild, her eyes wide with discovery. After analyzing the data from their first major battle, she had found something incredible in the waves of consciousness leaking from the damaged Void Singer ships. "Commander Foster," she called out, "I found their home world. The stolen minds. They're all connected to a central point." Commander Foster rushed to her station, followed by Dr. Martinez. The screen showed a map with thousands of glowing lines, all leading to a single star system at the edge of the galaxy. "That's where they store all the minds they've stolen," Emily explained. "Every consciousness they've harvested over thousands of years. They're all still alive, just sleeping." "Can we free them?" Foster asked. Dr. Martinez studied the data. "Yes, but we'll need something bigger than our current sonic weapons. Much bigger." Admiral Rivers' face appeared on the main screen. "Then we'll build something bigger. How much time do we need?" 3 days, Dr. Martinez said. "I call it Heaven's Orchestra. A sonic weapon big enough to wake every stolen mind at once. But we'll have to get very close to their home world." The next 3 days were a blur of activity. While the damaged Void Singer fleet retreated to repair itself, Earth's factories worked at full speed. They built massive sonic arrays on the largest ships in the Thunder Fleet. Every musician on Earth contributed, recording their music for the final battle. Commander Foster walked through Thunderchild's new music hall, a massive room filled with speakers the size of houses. The ship had been rebuilt around this weapon, turning it into a floating concert hall armed with humanity's greatest songs. "All ships report ready," Officer Parker announced. "Heaven's Orchestra is installed on all main vessels." "Then we strike now," Admiral Rivers commanded from his flagship. "Before they can fully repair their fleet, all ships set course for the Void Singer homeworld." The journey took 12 hours at maximum speed. When they arrived, they found something that made even veteran officers gasp. A black sphere the size of Jupiter floated in space, the Void Singer's main consciousness storage facility. "Multiple enemy ships detecting us," Parker reported. "They're moving to protect their home world." But the Thunder Fleet was ready this time. As the Void Singer ships approached, Earth's vessels split into 3 groups, just as they had practiced. Each group carried different music, different pieces of humanity's soul. "Begin the attack," Admiral Rivers ordered, "for Earth and all the minds they've stolen." The battle that followed was like nothing ever seen in the galaxy's history. The first wave of ships played classical music, their sonic weapons firing Mozart and Beethoven at the enemy. The second wave added rock and roll, jazz, and pop music. The third wave carried folk songs from every human culture. The Void Singer ships fought back with their anti-sound, trying to silence humanity's music. But they couldn't match the pure emotion, the raw power of human songs. Their perfect harmonies cracked under the assault of Earth's imperfect but passionate music. "We're getting through," Dr. Martinez shouted. "Their defenses are failing." Commander Foster stood at her command station. "All ships, prepare Heaven's Orchestra. Dr. Nash, begin the awakening sequence." Every ship in the Thunder Fleet turned their speakers toward the massive black sphere. This was what they had built Heaven's Orchestra for, the largest concert in the history of the galaxy. "What song did you choose?" Foster asked Dr. Martinez. "All of them," she replied with a smile. "Every lullaby ever sung to a child. Every love song. Every battle cry. Every cultural anthem. All playing together." At Foster's command, Heaven's Orchestra began to play. The combined music of humanity's entire history poured from the Thunder Fleet speakers. The sound waves hit the black sphere with the power of 1,000 suns. At first, nothing happened. Then cracks appeared in the sphere's surface, leaking light instead of darkness. The cracks grew larger, spreading across the entire structure. "It's working," Emily shouted. "The stolen minds, they're waking up." The sphere broke apart in a massive flash of light. Billions of consciousnesses, freed from their prison, spread across space like a cloud of stars. They had been silent for thousands of years, but now they were awake. And the first thing they heard was human music. The remaining Void Singer ships tried to flee, but their power was broken. Without their stolen minds to fuel them, they were nothing but empty shells. The great silence was over. Humanity had brought thunder to the cosmos, and the galaxy would never be quiet again. 1 year after the Battle of Heaven's Orchestra, Dr. Emily Nash stood at the window of the new Galactic Communications Center in New York. The night sky above was alive with lights, not just stars, but thousands of alien ships coming and going. Earth had become the center of a reborn galaxy. "Dr. Nash," a young assistant called. "The Centaurian ambassador is ready for his meeting." Emily smiled and walked to the conference room. Inside, the crystal-like form of the Centaurian leader glowed with warm colors. Unlike before, when his people had chosen to hide, now he stood tall and proud. "The awakening of the last hibernating species is complete," he announced. "Thanks to your sound technology, we were able to safely wake everyone who went into deep sleep to hide from the Void Singers." "That's wonderful news," Emily said. "How many civilizations are now active again?" "Over 300, the ambassador replied. "And we found something interesting. All of them are making music now. They heard your songs when they woke up, and it changed them." Through the window, Emily could see Commander Lisa Foster's new ship taking off. After the war, the Thunder Fleet had been transformed into a peacekeeping force. They still carried their sonic weapons, but now they used them to help wake sleeping civilizations and heal damaged worlds. Admiral Rivers entered the room, followed by Dr. Martinez. They both wore new uniforms, showing Earth's symbol combined with a musical note, the sign of the Galactic Defense Force. "The last Void Singer ship has been found and cleaned out," Rivers reported. "All the stolen minds have been freed. Those that couldn't return to bodies have been given new homes in our quantum computers, where they can think and feel and make music of their own." Dr. Martinez placed a datapad on the table. "And I have more good news. The research team has figured out how the Void Singers' technology worked. They didn't just hate music. They couldn't understand it. They had evolved in complete silence, and our songs were like a power they couldn't copy or control." Emily looked at her own datapad, which showed signals from across the galaxy. Where there had once been silence, now there was a symphony of alien communications. Different species were sharing their cultures, their stories, and most importantly, their music. "Message from Captain Wells," an aide announced. "The first galactic concert is ready to begin." They all moved to the main observation deck. Hundreds of ships from different species had gathered in Earth's orbit. Each one carried instruments and musicians from their own worlds. Today, they would play together for the first time. The concert began with Thunderchild playing the opening notes of Ode to Joy. Then, one by one, alien ships joined in. Some added high crystal sounds, others deep rumbling tones that humans had never heard before. New instruments, new scales, new ways of making music, all coming together in harmony. Hard to believe that just a year ago, the galaxy was silent, Admiral Rivers said softly. Emily nodded. The Void Singers thought silence was peace. They didn't understand that real peace comes from different voices singing together. As the music swelled, more ships arrived, these carrying the digital minds of those who couldn't return to physical form. They added their own electronic songs to the symphony, their consciousness waves transformed into beautiful sounds. Report from the border patrols, an officer announced. We're picking up signals from beyond known space. New civilizations, drawn by the music. They want to make contact. Emily smiled. Humanity had done more than just save the galaxy. They had changed it forever. The time of silence was over. Now every species knew the power of song, the strength of raising your voice, the joy of making thunder in the quiet of space. Commander Foster's voice came over the speakers. This is Thunderchild to all ships. Welcome to Earth's orbit. Today we celebrate not just victory, but new beginnings. Let your voices be heard. Let your songs join ours. The galaxy is awake, and we will never be silent again. The Centaurian ambassador's crystals glowed brightly. You humans were right not to hide, right to stand and fight, right to bring thunder to the cosmos. We will never forget that. As the concert reached its peak, Emily looked at the crowded sky above Earth. Somewhere out there, new civilizations were hearing music for the first time. New voices were joining the galactic chorus. New songs were being born. The cosmos had fallen silent, but humanity had brought thunder. And now, that thunder had become a symphony that would echo through space forever.